Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A determination of the place where something is. The act of putting something in a certain place. A point or extent in space. A workplace away from a studio at which some or all of a movie may be made. They shot the film on location in Nevada. A determination of the place where something is. He got a good fix on the target. Informal terms for a difficult situation. He got into a terrible fix. Restore by replacing a part or putting together what is torn or broken. Put something somewhere, firmly. Fix your eyes on this spot. Make infertile. Decide upon or fix definitely. Fix the variables. Make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. I was fixing to leave town after I paid the hotel bill. Take vengeance on or get even. That'll fix him good. The act of putting something in working order again. Prepare for eating by applying heat. Fix breakfast for the guests, please. Cause to be firmly attached. She fixed her gaze on the man. Make fixed, stable or stationary. Let's fix the picture to the frame. An exemption granted after influence, e.g., money, is brought to bear. Collusion resulted in tax fixes for gamblers. Influence an event or its outcome by illegal means. Fix a race. Kill, preserve, and harden tissue in order to prepare for microscopic study. Set or place definitely. Let's fix the date for the party. Something craved, especially an intravenous injection of a narcotic drug. She needed a fix of chocolate. A determination of the place where something is. Physiology. The principle that specific functions have relatively circumscribed locations in some particular part or organ of the body. A determination of the place where something is. Physiology. The principle that specific functions have relatively circumscribed locations in some particular part or organ of the body. A determination of the place where something is. The act of putting something in a certain place. The act of putting something in a certain place. Military installation consisting of a prepared position for sighting a weapon. The spatial property of the way in which something is placed. The placement of the chairs. The act of putting something in a certain place. Contact established between applicants and prospective employees. The agency provided placement services. A condition or position in which you find yourself. The unpleasant situation, or position, of having to choose between two evils. A job in an organization. The spatial property of a place where or way in which something is situated. The position of the hands on the clock. The particular portion of space occupied by something. A rationalized mental attitude. An opinion that is held in opposition to another in an argument or dispute. A way of regarding situations or topics, etc. The arrangement of the body and its limbs. The relative position or standing of things or especially persons in a society. Atheists do not enjoy a favorable position in American life. A point occupied by troops for tactical reasons. Put into a certain place or abstract location. The act of putting something in a certain place. An item on a list or in a sequence. Moved from third to fifth position. The post or function properly or customarily occupied or served by another. Cause to be in an appropriate place, state, or relation. In team sports, the role assigned to an individual player. What position does he play? The act of positing, an assumption taken as a postulate or axiom. The appropriate or customary location. The cars were in position. Causing to fall into line or into position. The act of putting something in a certain place. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. Something that is found. The findings in the gastrointestinal tract indicate that he died several hours after dinner. The decision of a court on issues of fact or law. The act of making up your mind about something. A position or opinion or judgment reached after consideration. Satisfied with the panel's determination. The quality of being determined to do or achieve something, firmness of purpose. His determination showed in his every movement. The act of determining the properties of something, usually by research or calculation. The determination of molecular structures. Deciding or controlling something's outcome or nature. The determination of grammatical inflections. An organic process that takes place in the body. Respiratory activity. The state of being active. His sphere of activity. The trait of being active, moving or acting rapidly and energetically. The level of activity declines with age. A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. Volcanic activity. Any specific behavior. They avoided all recreational activity. Chemistry, the capacity of a substance to take part in a chemical reaction. Catalytic activity. A tangible and visible entity, an entity that can cast a shadow. The goal intended to be attained, and which is believed to be attainable. The sole object of her trip was to see her children. A tangible and visible entity, an entity that can cast a shadow. It was full of rackets, balls and other objects. Be averse to or express disapproval of. My wife objects to modern furniture. Computing. A discrete item that provides a description of virtually anything known to a computer. In object-oriented programming, objects include data and define its status, its methods of operation and how it interacts with other objects. Express or raise an objection or protest or criticism or express dissent. She never objected to the amount of work her boss charged her with. Grammar, a constituent that is acted upon. The object of the verb. The focus of cognitions or feelings. Objects of thought. Make uniform. Work the clay until it is soft. Perform as expected when applied. This old radio doesn't work anymore. Be employed. Is your husband working again? Applying the mind to learning and understanding a subject, especially by reading. Mastering a second language requires a lot of work. Have and exert influence or effect. The artist's work influenced the young painter. Make something, usually for a specific function. Cause to happen or to occur as a consequence. I cannot work a miracle. The occupation for which you are paid. A lot of people are out of work. Cause to work. He is working his servants hard. Find the solution to a problem or question, or understand the meaning of. This unpleasant situation isn't going to work itself out. A product produced or accomplished through the effort or activity or agency of a person or thing. It is not regarded as one of his more memorable works. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. The voting process doesn't work as well as people thought. Use or manipulate to one's advantage. She knows how to work the system. Proceed along a path. Work one's way through the crowd. Prepare for crops. Shape, form, or improve a material. Work stone into tools. A place where work is done. He arrived at work early today. Cause to undergo fermentation. The vintner worked the wine in big oak vats. The total output of a writer or artist, or a substantial part of it. Picasso's work can be divided into periods. Give a workout to. My personal trainer works me hard. Go sour or spoil. The wine worked. Activity directed toward making or doing something. She checked several points needing further work. Arrive at a certain condition through repeated motion. The stitches of the hem worked loose after she wore the skirt many times. Behave in a certain way when handled. This dough does not work easily. Cause to operate or function. This pilot works the controls. Exert oneself by doing mental or physical work for a purpose or out of necessity. I will work hard to improve my grades. Gratify and charm, usually in order to influence. The political candidate worked the crowds. Move in an agitated manner. His fingers worked with tension. Move into or onto. Work the raisins into the dough. Operate in a certain place, area, or specialty. She works the nightclubs. Operate in or through. Physics. A manifestation of energy. The transfer of energy from one physical system to another expressed as the product of a force and the distance through which it moves a body in the direction of that force. Work equals force times distance. Proceed towards a goal or along a path or through an activity. Work your way through every problem or task. Provoke or excite. The rock musician worked the crowd of young girls into a frenzy. A place where work is done. Determining the location of something by measuring the time it takes for an echo to return from it. Determining the location of something by measuring the time it takes for an echo to return from it. The act of positioning close together, or side by side. It is the result of the juxtaposition of contrasting colors. A side-by-side position. A collection of plants, trees or shrubs or flowers, in a particular area. The landscape architect suggested a small planting in the northwest corner. Putting seeds or young plants in the ground to grow. The planting of corn is hard work. The act of fixing firmly in place. He ordered the planting of policemen outside every doorway. The condition of being arranged in social strata or classes within a group. A layered configuration. Forming or depositing in layers. The act or process or arranging persons into classes or social strata. The placing of seeds in damp sand or sawdust or peat moss in order to preserve them or promote germination. Geology. The principle that in a series of stratified sedimentary rocks the lowest stratum is the oldest. Geology. The deposition of one geological stratum on another. Geometry. The placement of one object ideally in the position of another one in order to show that the two coincide. The placement of one thing on top of another. The act of placing in a new position. The act of positioning close together, or side by side. A grouping of words in a sentence. A predisposition in favor of something. Showed a Marxist orientation. A course introducing a new situation or environment. An integrated set of attitudes and beliefs. A person's awareness of self with regard to position and time and place and personal relationships. Position or alignment relative to points of the compass or other specific directions. The act of orienting. The placement of the fingers for playing different notes, or sequences of notes, on a musical instrument. Touching something with the fingers. An unofficial association of people or groups. The smart set goes there. Get ready for a particular purpose or event. Set up an experiment. Several exercises intended to be done in series. He did 4 sets of the incline bench press. Representation consisting of the scenery and other properties used to identify the location of a dramatic production. The sets were meticulously authentic. A relatively permanent inclination to react in a particular way. The set of his mind was obvious. Disappear beyond the horizon. The sun sets early these days. Decide upon or fix definitely. Put or set, seeds, seedlings, or plants, into the ground. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Set a record. Urge to attack someone. Set down according to a plan. A carefully laid table with places set for 4 people. Usually followed by to, or for, on the point of or strongly disposed. We are set to go at any time. Converted to solid form, as concrete. Make ready or suitable or equip in advance for a particular purpose or for some use, event, etc. Determined or decided upon as by an authority. The time set for the launching. Equip with sails or masts. Insert a nail or screw below the surface, as into a countersink. Locate. The film is set in Africa. Fixed and unmoving. With eyes set in a fixed glassy stare. Put into a certain place or abstract location. adapt for performance in a different way. Set this poem to music. Psychology, being temporarily ready to respond in a particular way. The subject set led them to solve problems the familiar way and to overlook the simpler solution. Become gelatinous. Situated in a particular spot or position. A house set on a hilltop. Fix conclusively or authoritatively. Set the rules. Evil Egyptian god with the head of a beast that has high square ears and a long snout, brother and murderer of Osiris. Arrange attractively. Alter or regulate so as to achieve accuracy or conform to a standard. Estimate. The process of becoming hard or solid by cooling or drying or crystallization. He tested the set of the glue. Bear fruit. Set in type. My book will be typeset nicely. A group of things of the same kind that belong together and are so used. A set of books. Any electronic equipment that receives or transmits radio or TV signals. The early sets ran on storage batteries. Apply or start. Set fire to a building. A unit of play in tennis or squash. They played 2 sets of tennis after dinner. Being below the horizon. The moon is set. Fix in a border. The goldsmith set the diamond. Give a fine, sharp edge to a knife or razor. Mathematics, an abstract collection of numbers or symbols. The set of prime numbers as infinite. Put into a certain state. Cause to be in a certain state. Set the house afire. Put into a position that will restore a normal state. Set a broken bone. Set to a certain position or cause to operate correctly. Set clocks or instruments. The act of putting something in position. He gave a final set to his hat. The descent of a heavenly body below the horizon. Before the set of sun. Embryology, the organic process whereby a fertilized egg becomes implanted in the lining of the uterus of placental mammals. A surgical procedure that places something in the human body. The implantation of radioactive pellets in the prostate gland. The act of planting or setting in the ground. The act or fact of interposing one thing between or among others. The action of interjecting or interposing an action or remark that interrupts. The act or fact of interposing one thing between or among others. A policy of intervening in the affairs of other countries. Care provided to improve a situation, especially medical procedures or applications that are intended to relieve illness or injury. The act of intervening, as to mediate a dispute, etc. It occurs without human intervention. Law. A proceeding that permits a person to enter into a lawsuit already in progress. Admission of person not an original party to the suit so that person can protect some right or interest that is allegedly affected by the proceedings. The purpose of intervention is to prevent unnecessary duplication of lawsuits. The act of positioning close together, or side by side. A grammatical relation between a word and a noun phrase that follows. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer is an example of apposition. Biology. Growth in the thickness of a cell wall by the deposit of successive layers of material.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.